The date is August 5, 2026. Toronto, Canada. Sobeys Stadium. The center court is packed with 10,077 fans, a sea of Philippine flags waving in every direction. The atmosphere is electric. The noise is deafening. And on the court, Alex Eala, the 21-year-old Filipino sensation, has just done the impossible. In her debut at the National Bank Open, fresh off a historic WTA title in Washington, she has defeated American Alicia Parks in a thrilling 3-set battle, 6-1, 4-6, 6-2. The crowd erupts. The chants of Eala, Eala, echo through the venue. But then, something happens that no one expected. Karl Hale, the CEO and tournament director of the National Bank Open, steps up to the microphone. He doesn't just congratulate Eala on her victory. He doesn't just praise her performance. He makes an announcement that leaves the entire stadium in stunned silence. Alex Eala has been personally invited to the final of this tournament, he says. The crowd goes silent. And then, they explode in disbelief. This is the story of how Alex Eala stole the show in Toronto. This is the story of the tournament CEO who recognized her star power. This is the story of the stadium that sold out in 20 minutes. And this is the story of how a 21-year-old from Quezon City turned a WTA 1000 event into a celebration of Filipino pride. Face screaming in fear, Philippines. To understand why Karl Hale made this unprecedented announcement and why tickets vanished in 20 minutes, you must first understand the phenomenon that had taken over Toronto. Alex Eala did not just play tennis in Toronto. She transformed the tournament. She turned a routine WTA 1000 event into a cultural celebration. She brought the Philippines to Canada, and she did it in a way that no one had ever seen before. When Eala's appearance at the National Bank Open was announced, the phones at the tournament office began ringing immediately. Tickets for her first match against American Alicia Parks sold out in just 30 minutes. Karl Hale, the tournament director, later revealed that Eala had generated upward of 5,000 ticket sales, making the originally assigned grandstand court far too small. The grandstand only seats 2,800 spectators, but demand was so overwhelming that organizers were forced to move her to center court, a 10,077-seat stadium. And even that sold out. We've never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 have this type of effect, Hale said. I think her fans were specifically waiting to see when she played. According to Tennis 365, Serena Williams is the only other player believed to have produced a Wednesday night sellout in Toronto during the past 20 years. The Filipino community in Toronto had turned out in full force. According to the 2021 Canadian census, there are more than 250,000 people of Filipino descent living in and around the Greater Toronto Area. They came not just to watch tennis, but to celebrate their culture, their identity, their place in the world. The tournament itself embraced the phenomenon. Organizers added Filipino dishes, including chicken adobo and lumpia, to the food stands around Sobeys Stadium. It was the first time in the history of the tournament that a player had caused such a cultural shift. Hale was stunned. It was just unprecedented. We've never seen anything like that in Toronto before. It was unexpected. The moment Eala's appearance for the final was announced, the phones at the tournament office started ringing again. But this time, the demand was even more intense. Within 20 minutes, every single ticket for the final session was gone. Not hours, not days, 20 minutes. The online ticketing system, which had already crashed once during the initial sale, buckled under the renewed pressure. Thousands of fans from across North America flooded the system, desperate to secure a seat. The phones rang off the hook. The organizers scrambled to find a solution, but it was too late. The tickets had vanished. Hale explained the unprecedented demand. We saw the momentum build from February in Doha and over the past year, and it really culminated in the week of which every match she played it sold out. He noted that Eala's popularity was part of a broader international movement, with fans proudly representing their home countries. I think one of the uniquenesses about this event in particular this year was, in the past we saw tens of flags from various nations throughout. This year we saw hundreds and thousands of flags. The 20-minute sellout was even more impressive considering the tournament's overall success. The National Bank Open in Toronto broke its attendance record, with a total of 215,000 people attending the 13-day event. Eala's matches were consistently sold out, and fans stayed until midnight to watch their players. People were staying until midnight basically to see their players, Hale said. The fans were really loyal with the players, and the players were fully engaged with the fans. The match that earned Eala the invitation to the final was a masterclass in resilience. Fresh off her historic WTA title win in Washington just days earlier, Eala had to quickly switch venues and return to winning ways. The tournament organizers had initially planned to place her on the smaller grandstand court, but the demand was so overwhelming that they moved her to center court. The match against Parks was a roller coaster. Eala dominated the first set, reeling off 5 consecutive games from 1-1 to take it 6-1. She did not face a break point on serve during the set and consistently pressured Parks from the baseline. Parks responded in the second set, breaking in the 10th game to claim the set 6-4. The deciding set remained tight until Eala secured a crucial break in the 5th game. From there, she stayed in control, holding serve comfortably before sealing the win in 1 hour and 51 minutes. Eala was backed by a large contingent of Filipino supporters waving flags and cheering throughout the match. "I am eternally grateful," she said after the victory. "I just came off Washington, so I really feel like this is a celebration." The victory was significant for another reason. It avenged Eala's loss to Parks at the Australian Open in January. It also marked her 17th career WTA 1000 match win and her 11th at that level in 2026. The scenes inside the stadium were unlike anything Toronto had ever witnessed. The crowd was a sea of Philippine flags, thousands of them waving in unison. The chants of "Eala, Eala" echoed through the venue. The roar from the rare early tournament sellout crowd of 10,000 plus following match point surely could be heard across York University's sprawling campus on the northern edge of Toronto. The players on the tour couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Eala's massive crowd support was unlike anything they had ever seen. Even the biggest names in tennis took notice. Andy Roddick, the former world #1 turned podcaster, called it Eala Mania. On his podcast, he said, "Eala Mania is fun. When you have watch parties in arenas around your country for a 4th-round match, I'm in." Naomi Osaka described Eala's matches as being more like a basketball game than a tennis match, referring to the electric atmosphere. Jessica Pegula, who had faced Eala in the Washington final, admitted that it was not fun to play against the Filipina star due to the overwhelming crowd support. But she also praised Eala's maturity, saying, "I just think it's so refreshing and nice to see how well she's handled all of the kind of fandom and stardom that's come with her being from the Philippines." The players' reactions underscored the unprecedented nature of the Eala phenomenon. She was not just a tennis player. She was a movement, a force of nature, a phenomenon that had captured the hearts of millions and left even the most experienced players in awe. The stadium sold out in 20 minutes because the fans knew they were witnessing something special. And the players knew it too. Karl Hale's invitation to Alex Eala to the final of the Toronto Open was more than just a gesture. It was a recognition of something bigger. It was a recognition that tennis is changing. It was a recognition that the sport is becoming more global, more diverse, and more inclusive. It was a recognition that players from countries that have never had tennis stars before are finally getting the recognition they deserve. Hale emphasized that Toronto's multicultural identity is something the tournament wants to embrace even further in the future. "You know, we're part of this great multicultural community in Toronto, so we want everybody to be a part of this event in the future," he said. The experience offered the tournament an opportunity to learn how it could better connect with Toronto's many cultural communities moving forward. "It was a learning moment for us. After this event, we'll go back to the drawing board and see how we can do that even for more communities." Alex Eala represents that change. She represents hope. She represents resilience. She represents the belief that no dream is too big, no obstacle too great, no challenge too difficult to overcome. For decades, the Philippines has been a country that has been overlooked on the world stage. Its people have been told that they are too small, too poor, too insignificant to compete with the giants of the world. But Alex Eala is changing that narrative. She is showing the world that Filipinos can compete on the global stage, that Filipinos can succeed, that Filipinos can be champions. Karl Hale understood that. He understood that Eala is not just a tennis player. She is a movement. And by inviting her to the final and publicly praising her, He was acknowledging the power of that movement. He was signaling to the world that the National Bank Open recognizes and values the Eala effect. He was making a statement that the future of tennis is global and that the future is here. The tennis world is watching. The fans are believing. And Alex Eala is just getting started. From the cracked courts of Quezon City to the sold-out stadiums of Toronto and Cincinnati. From the cover of Forbes to the bright lights of the U.S. Open. Her journey has defied every expectation. And now, she is proving that true champions are not defined by the trophies they win, but by the hearts they touch.